Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello dear viewer, dear listener, welcome to another exciting episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. I have Ms. Dibeela who's come to share with us on all issues around diversifying one's expertise during this time of COVID. She's a fashion designer. I'm so delighted and excited. I hope you stay with us. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Subscribe now. Just press that little button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate that. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me, Mogobe.
Yeah, thanks for the correction. It shouldn't be Mem Dibeela, it should be Dibeela.
Dibeela.
Okay. All right. Tell us about yourself and your background.
I'm a young lady from Kanye, a few wisdom years old. I was born in Muchudi, raised both in different places, the rural part in a place called Goshwe in the rural areas of Bokalaka.
In
Bokalaka, yes. My mom was school head, but she was training as a teacher then, so that's why I started my standard 1 there. Straight from what is called Masimo. Yes, no preschool, nothing. So I went straight into class 1 breakthrough class. From Gosho Primary, I went to Sofope Primary. That's where my mom comes from, and she's married in Kanye. From there, I had moments in Francistown because my dad was in the army. Then Gaborone from Form 1 until Form 5, where I met fashion at home economics.
That's why you're a fashion designer by profession today.
Yes.
You met fashion at home economics class.
Yes, fashion and fabrics.
Tell us about that and tell us what you do.
Actually, I didn't even want to be in fashion. I was sort of like a lazy student in terms of writing and notes. I preferred more of like your religious education. I went to church from a young age, so most of the stuff that was taught there I knew by head. So it was more about having extra time. So home economics meant applying yourself, because I'd seen with junior school, other students were always involved in practicals, and I sort of like, that's something that I didn't want to be involved with. But as classes were allocated in GSS, I ended up...
also my school. I'm from GSS.
Oh, from GSS, yeah.
Spent 5 years there.
Form 1 then.
Yes.
I was at GSS for 3 years, from Form 3 to Form 5, and I was class of 98. So actually at Form 3, when classes were allocated, I found myself in a fashion and fabrics class. I did not like it. People had greater marks than me. So it was the only subject that I had to, besides maths, that I had to work hard on. And beautifully enough, by the end of my Form 5, I was the top student on the results. And because I pushed hard, I loved it more, I read more on it. That's when I realized, maybe what if this is for me? And that is when we were the last cohort here, Direlos Chaba. So after that, I decided I love this.
Tell me, what aspect of fashion design did you study? Is it a broad field or is it a very specialized field?
Because I studied for an honors degree in fashion design, it is more broad. You had your certificate year where you I studied little things like smaller. It's a smaller like version of the whole. So up to your degree, then at honors level, you have your dissertation. You have all your. It's like broad. You have your fashion finance to deal with. There's retail education to deal. It's quite broad. There's like your stylist where you study fashion to go work on a magazine. So where you study fashion to go, and because I started to be a commercial designer, where you basically you can design, yes, for fashion shows, because let's honest, they are different in the sense you could be having a fashion show that's retail and the one that's more avant-garde. Avant-garde, it's the stuff that you wouldn't see people normally wearing on the streets.
Okay, it's just strictly for the
usually for entertainment or for theaters or those things that you
not for the catwalk.
and not for the catwalks, but you can only probably experience them on the catwalk. Like I said, they could be for entertainment, more like theater productions and all the likes, or awards or things like
even,
that.
I guess for movies, right?
Yes, for movies as well.
Especially where people are 18th century, they have to dress that attire.
In a certain way, yes. There's a certain way.
Okay, and now, in terms of now running it as a business, give us that journey, share with us that transition.
Gosh, it is a, well, it has been quite a beautiful, should I say, story for me. And I anticipate it to grow to be even more beautiful. I came in because I was more interested in retail. Since I started, I wanted to have like a manufacturing plant because fortunately I studied in South Africa. So
why is it unfortunate?
Fortunate.
Oh, fortunately.
Yes,
okay.
Fortunately in South Africa, so where there's more exposure, there's more infrastructure, so it was quite a beautiful experience. I went to a school that was affiliating from Nottingham Trent, so they made sure we had everything the same way as they do in the UK, what the experience that we had as a school. So it was quite fascinating in the fact that, but then again, when we came to Botswana, there wasn't much at play except people who studied, or some of the people I studied with went into vocational training. So I was sort of like the rebel one who went into business like immediately after class. So it was quite a roller coaster. I didn't know. I had to look for a
So when did you open
clientele.
your fashion business and how did it start?
I started with a friend because I thought maybe synergized efforts, but there's a saying that in Botswana, it's not easier for us to work together. Somewhere 2 years down the line, I decided to be my own and I started ThabieD. So I have a brand called ThabieD now.
Which you started when?
It was in 2007, but in 2012, I officially now
launched it
to where it is now. So this brand has been doing well.
So from 98 when you graduated to, or 98 is when you graduated from GSS?
From GSS.
Okay, and then you...
A 4-year program of...
Yeah, so you probably started around 2012. I mean, you graduated around 2012, 20...
No, I graduated my...
02, 03, sorry, 04.
That was in 04.
Okay.
And then I had like a year to at least, not sort of like rest, to see what is it that I want to venture into. There were, should I say, many opportunities I could go into, but like I said, training wasn't one of my options. I wanted something challenging. And I thought I was cut out for business, so I tried business. So,
and officially you started 2012?
2012, I launched the brand, and the brand has been up and down. So
just remind us the name of the brand again.
ThabieD.
ThabieD.
Yes, ThabieD is Thabiso Dibeela or ThabieD Dibeela or ThabieD the designer.
Yes. ThabieD Designer is more like it.
Yes.
Yes, it fits either way.
Yes.
And why do you say it went up and down?
In business, you never know what's coming, what's not coming. So I experienced it all as it came. You know, when you start, it's like you're thrown there and you don't know what's going to happen. There was a time when I would have 10 weddings in the same day. And you know how it is like you'll have clients all coming in and all wanting to go out with their clothes because it started as a custom made, yes, as a custom made business. So there's a lot of things more like the business side of the study. The business side wasn't
like managing
more
clients.
the managing clients, managing your productions, managing your, and there's this thing that we do mostly in Botswana, or should I say as Africans, where you go into business and you want to do everything for yourself. You're the fashion, you are the marketing, you are the
I think initially you can't avoid that.
Yeah,
when you first start.
Initially you can't avoid it, but at times we fail to see when to start engaging other people or your marketers, because at the end of the day it becomes overwhelming, and at the end then it affects the products that comes out. And then as time went on, I realized I needed to be able to have somebody do more like liaise with other people that are good on certain things to be able to achieve where I want to arrive at.
Now, you want to talk to us about craftsmanship, the importance of craftsmanship. Can you please unbundle that for us?
It's as you develop in your business, you need to be able to craft your brand in such a way that it becomes not just acceptable to the people that are around you, but to the world as well. So it's like people would always say, is that the quality that we get here, could it be the same quality like elsewhere? Could we produce the same qualities in our country that
people tend to think that
yes,
our
that
quality is lower, right?
Our quality is, yes.
But it's not necessarily the case.
It's not the case. We've had a lot of brands that have been produced in our country, brands like Fubu. Yes, a lot of brands like the brands that Ackermans had at some point, like your winter ranges.
Fubu was doing some of their work here.
Yes, they did. We used to have a blooming industry in Pikwe. Government still has that infrastructure. It's just that I things somewhere along the line, I think management-wise, but we had that, and Fubu produced here, and they went and branded in the US, and then that's when they went to sell all over the world.
What would you say about your own craftsmanship? What is it about your brand and your craftsmanship that you think is head and shoulders above the rest?
I had worked hard to be able to, so that you could be able to see that's a ThabieD design, by not looking or asking much about it, especially with the ladies, especially with the ladies, because there's more that you can do with the ladies than with the men.
Explain that.
In terms of fashion-wise, ladies are more outgoing. Men would prefer to wear a jean.
Some men would contest that.
No, a few of them, like a handful. But actually, a lot of women, we have a lot of women, and I know even now I'm studying business because of women. I mean, in this time of the pandemic, because despite they still want to look good, they still want to feel, but I cannot wear the dress, especially in the social media era, because we post what we wear, then it means you can't.
To look good.
Yes, you need another outfit into the next. So it says a lot about your craftsmanship if people still come back to you. Yes.
Tell me about this ensemble you have on. I take it as a ThabieD as well.
Yes.
Describe it for us.
It's a ThabieD. This one is it's a coat. It's a dress coat. A dress coat. This one is special in the sense that it's made out of leteis, not your usual
German
blue.
print?
Yes, German print, like your 3-cat. This one is actually, you can hardly ever see it worn in winter, But this one, it's a dress code because it has an inner, like one that you can be able to remove. This brings us to where craftsmanship is taken into innovation as well. You have to, we still need to wear leteisi everywhere and anywhere we go. Or even since I've been traveling, I've been trying to say, why is it that people from all over the world, as I was showcasing in Ghana, in Lagos, you'd see that these people are very proud of their attires. They are proud of what they actually even wear them to work. We have banks. Actually, banks have their own prints that are printed like your Standard Chartered in Accra. You'll see them Standard Chartered Accra, Standard Chartered Ghana. They have their own prints, and this actually brings the economy. It actually opens up for their locals.
I want you just to explain the buttons and then help the viewer understand the importance of craftsmanship from the point of view of paying attention to detail.
Yes, because at the end of the day, with a garment, you must be able to visualize it before it even starts, how it would look like. That is why when we design, we start by drawing, and as you source out, your fabric determines what is it, or it depends on what type of a person are you. Your accessories could be defined in the sense that you could be an outgoing person, or you want something that will be more visible. Some people would rather have something that's quieter to the eye. They don't want people to be looking into details. I'm more into details because I deal with details every day. They excite me. And the color, I could have chosen like a pink plain or a green plain, but so the gold brings in for me like
It draws a bit of attention.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about collaborations. You mentioned Ghana and other places. What collaborations are you involved with? And what's the role of collaborations when we're talking about surviving, diversifying one's expertise during these COVID times?
We don't have such a big market here. Because of our population, there's less that we could sell here and more that we could sell to the world. So as I've been traveling, I met a lot of other designers in Nigeria, in Namibia, in Zambia, so even in London. We have this thing that we sort of like boxes ourselves in Botswana. We forget that there are people out there that would like the things that we have here, and even Mozambique. They do not have leteisi at all in Mozambique, and I saw it fit to be able to deal with other designers, so that what I could do, I could be the one that takes leteisi to them, whilst I take what they have here. You have people that again promote African fashion all over the world. This is where we collaborated with others, like the ones in Namibia, to be how do we take the African fashion from Africa to Europe and
Is it just
other
a matter
parts.
of giving them your stuff to sell? Or how does the collaboration actually work in real terms?
Because at the end of the day, it's about money. It's about getting money, and you get money from the sales. And for us to be taking our African designs or our African, it's for, at the end of the day, to get money out of them. Yes.
And you mentioned the idea of being boxed in, and you actually refused to be boxed in. Who was boxing you in, or what was boxing you in, and why do you say you refused to be boxed in?
I think refusing to be boxed in is trying to say Thabiso is just a designer. I have 2-3 more other businesses. When you start Botswana, start thinking, but we thought she's into clothing. So they are not into saying, okay, she can still go into agriculture. She can still go into other avenues of business, because it's all about when you box me, then you are saying I can't excel. You are limiting me. I can't excel in other things, because I sort of like recently started more like a ThabieD group, where I have all my businesses under one roof. Where I'll be able to, because surviving
What
the
do
pandemic.
these businesses do apart from fashion?
Apart from fashion, I sell plants, trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I have a catering business as well. Like I cook food. Like there's this Soho store that I saw whilst I was studying in Durban. This store had like your clothing there and like your food at the same time. People, as they came to have their food, or as they came to shop, they still had the have to relax and have your coffee, your sausage sandwiches, and all that. So I thought of like I love cooking. So I thought of like I'd always wanted to do this, but then again, when COVID came, it opened up that space to say, but then people are no longer going to work. Most people that made those clothes are working from home. It means less of the business and less that is being done. So I hooked in the cooking part. So I have people coming in for the clothes, and I have them coming in. Those who come for the food get to experience the clothing. Those who come for the clothes get to experience the food side as well. And at the end of the day, there are plants as well. So that's sort of like you come in.
So where is this setup to be found?
It's on phase 2.
Your house?
Yes.
You just converted into a
Yes.
business center.
Because if you look at it the way we do it, especially in the pandemic time, it will be the rentals are higher. There is less coming in, or there is less movement of people. So it means when people come in into a certain place and get 3 or 4 more services, then it means
So
you're
you
killing
maximize the exposure
yes,
of your
the
customers
exposure.
to this.
Exactly. So even myself, because I help manage all of them, it means it brings me closer than having to be at another one and
So
another
it's
one
3
at the same
businesses
time.
in one location.
Yes, that I'm doing at the moment.
Okay.
Yes.
And which one of these was spurred by COVID? In other words, you started with fashion and the other 2, or which
The
one
other
was,
2,
was...
the plants have always been there with the fashion.
Oh, okay.
I had started the food one before at a different location, but I had to stop because of family issues at some point. I had my brother whom I had to take care of, so I had to close it because managing it when I caring for him as well. He had an accident, so he needed more care. So I closed it, and then when COVID came and there was less being done, I thought they actually came at a time when there was an influx of the masks. Actually,
this was early last year, right?
Early last year, just after COVID stopped, government called me and some of the other people that are in the industry to say, the stakeholders, here we are, what is it that we can do to better what's happening at the moment? So we went and crafted what I hope soon would come into play to be able to help the industry to go. So the mask came, and we did the masks in a huge way. Especially I did more of the branded masks. We had to hit it hard because we didn't know what was happening, when this would happen, because we had months closed up.
And you made a killing, I'm sure.
I tried.
Don't be too shy.
It
went very well.
I tried. I should say it went very well, because the corporate responded quite well into giving us business. They gave us business. We tried to do our best ability, but that era came and it stopped.
Because now we're into these masks. We're no longer into the branded ones.
And now you are into, yes. So as it is now, there was now space again. There was this gap of there isn't much that's been done. Like when people started working from home, it means less of the orders came in. So I thought, but I can, maybe this gap, that's when the kitchen fair fell into place. And again, so I got excited and I went back to the kitchen.
Facing your fears, the business traps that normally trap a lot of people. You want to share on those, how you faced your fears and avoided the business traps? that engulf a lot of people around this time due to lack of financial grounding, for instance?
Yeah, financial grounding. I think as a business person, I don't know how I managed to be still in business, or should I be here when I hardly I got like a financial loans and got those traps where somebody will tell you you can do this, you get an amount of money. So I'd always believed in saying, let me work hard and see if this thing can work for me without a loan. And but at times I have a different view now about it. It's because, like I was saying, you had all other aspects to learn in fashion, and including fashion finances. So some of them we just went through basics and we didn't go far. But like I said, Ghana in business, you even when you know the basics, there are actually other people that are able to know much more, especially on the financial bits and passes. And then there's this a slow point where now you do everything and you end up lacking on the ones that you're good at because you're trying to cover up on other. Now I have a different approach. Now I know I need that loan, I need that money for me to be able to grow bigger.
What is your definition of lack of financial grounding? What are you talking about that is afflicting business people and trapping them?
It's affecting them and trapping them because at the end of the day, you end up, because of maybe lack of knowledge, you end up either got purchases and what
give
you
examples.
acquire,
What do you mean?
like your machinery. You end up probably getting the infrastructure that's not good for what your end product should be like. Yes, so it means when you lack finance, some of the things are done with the things that are not supposed to, like your finishes. For you to make a male jacket, it has to come out with a buttonhole that is meant for a male jacket, not just a buttonhole. It shouldn't just be a buttonhole. There's a certain buttonhole that's used for men's garments. Yes, because like I was saying, we want to be able to produce things that we can even be able to sell to the rest of the world.
Speaking of financial grounding, if I'm not mistaken, there's a gentleman who owns Louis Vuitton and a whole lot of brands, including, is it Saha? A lot of them. And he's, if he's not the third, he's the fourth richest man in the world.
Yeah.
Do you see a situation where Botswana can get to those lofty heights where we own fashion houses and we make those sort of monies?
We can. We actually have that capacity in our minds. Like I was saying, we need more of the collaborations with the financial institution, with financial people, with the investors, because Ghana, as a fashion designer, maybe in business, but I learned more too. My area of specialty is fashion. There's somebody whose area of specialty is business, administration, and someone is. One of the things that we're lacking in our country is to be able to collaborate together as Botswana, to be able to, there should be a marketing person who in business that actually they're into that. So we sort of like, I'm just a designer, I start a brand and it gets to a point where it's not growing because other components are missing. Like I'm sitting here and thinking, my brand has been tested, it has been tried. So what's lacking now, it's those components that I'm talking about, like having somebody who gets to do the administration. I'm not an administrator. So trying to do all these things for my brand kills what I could be doing better.
Yeah, which takes us to the other message of back to basics. What basics and how do you go back?
Basics are
You see, you should ask yourself, what am I good at, and that sort of thing.
yes. I often people saying, what is it that I can do? People went to school to do like economics and political science. They're sitting home now, they're not doing anything. And like I was saying, I grew up in my family where so Farming, yes. My dad wanted me to do agricultural engineering because as his first daughter and only daughter, I was interested as he was farming. And he thought maybe I would want to end up in agriculture. But I actually, in my mind, thought I grew up seeing this thing happen, so I don't need to study to know what happens motimong and so. But then again, because of the interest and because I learned it throughout family life, I'm able to deal with plants issues and still be able to sell them. And so basics, these are the things at the moment now when you do with your hands, you're able to survive because it's in the pandemic now, like people would say, it's not about making more profits, but trying to survive.
Being aware of trends, you say previously there were ponchos which were trending, and now it's certain types of dresses. Wow, what's the importance of being up to date with those trends?
As a fashion designer, you can choose to follow trends, or you can choose to be the one who makes a certain thing trend. It's all about being innovative. Like I realized at some point, is it 5 or 6 years ago, that when you go, you can't find stylish ones, or
What do you mean stylish ones?
Stylish for, when you design for a certain clientele. So you need to be able to know if this is for Mekwahaya or for a lady who wants, for an executive. So I thought people still wants to look good, but not everyone wants themselves in a coat. And mind you, some of these coats are from Europe but they're too heavy. We have winters that are not as hectic as they, so the fabrics and stuff. And you still want to look good and stylish at the same time. You still want your dress to be able to show how it fits you. And I figured a poncho would still keep you warm and you still feel stylish. You still look
so you
elegant.
Don't follow trends as such?
I don't follow trends as such. I try to make trends. Like I made this, it's a coat dress. Like I was telling you, the inner part of it, you're able to remove it. Removing it means you can still be able to use the same dress in the summer. Yes, when it's removed. So innovation sort of like helps you to be able to, so that you keep people coming your way. Yeah. That way you make sales.
Give examples of everyday wear, lounge wear, and so on. Can you go deeper and realize that a lot of our audiences are not fashion aficionados and experts like you? So simplify it.
Taking up a notch would be, there's a certain kind of fabric that would probably make your client fall in love with the garment. You just don't design and just go and probably take a mini mat or any other cheaper fabric. So it's about, there is that certain eye that everyone as a designer has. And I know I have that certain eye of fabric in terms of choice, because as early as GSS, I learned fabric compositions. So probably that's why I knew I had to go do fashion after TS. So composition, how fabrics behave and certain stuff like that. And I try to teach even my clients why they can't use certain fabrics and why they have to use certain ones. Even try building relationships with them in terms of taking the notch up, the executives going to their offices, taking measurements, delivering their stuff or making their fits at their
going
home.
the extra mile.
Yes, going the extra mile. And like I was saying, I used to have the other business than the other one. So being here means I'm able to attend to all the views and problems and from one place. So that's when trying to remake up the whole experience that they have. The garden set up, the eatery set up. We're doing like your walk-in store where you walk in and you're able to probably grab something out of. It doesn't always have to be custom made. Yes.
So, are Botswana really prepared to spend on fashion? How prepared are they? You did mention that there's a difference between women and men, but Botswana generally, are they prepared to invest in fashion, looking good?
Botswana have for years, especially the last 5-10 years, have been making more and more of an effort. Actually, there have been, besides that the pandemic came, there had been quite a lot of events that were coming up, and people have been innovative in terms of, because people were to go somewhere, to go to work, to go like your lounge. All of a sudden, people still wants to look good whilst they're lounging at home. Yes, they are prepared. They are prepared. It's even in the pandemic, we are surviving because of some of them still feel they still want to look good. Yes.
Is there any kind of attire or any kind of clothing item that is specifically that is doing well? You mentioned masks, but beyond masks, is doing well as a result of the pandemic or around the pandemic?
Protective clothing. Yes, protective clothing. Because,
PPP.
yes, it's used everywhere. It's used in the mines. It's used.
So are you selling that too? Are you manufacturing that as well?
I'm not manufacturing PP yet. The pandemic came when I was partnering with other people to be able to produce in masses, and it's still an ongoing process.
Okay.
Yes.
It's good to give back. You're not just a taker, you give back as well. Would you give examples of giving back, and you talk of giving sewing lessons, etc. How are you giving back generally?
I try give back as part of what could, probably to the girl child. I don't know, maybe because I'm a woman and I know women, there's just that vulnerability of a girl who doesn't know what to do or how to do it. So even women who are ready to say, I would like to learn this craft. I've loved this since I was young. It's sort of like, it could be a surviving. You don't have to go and do a degree like me to be able to do it, but for you to be able to survive. Because like I was saying, I had seen many women, especially in South Africa, who benefited who were just taught on-job training, who are now producing cushions for Mr. Price retails. So you sort of like give back to be able for these people to say, what is it that I can do in case the job says here, this is where we're ending. So do you go home, because jobs are even scarce at this point?
So what do you actually do specifically, participating in national projects, etc.?
Yes, I do.
How are you giving back, or how are you encouraging the viewer specifically to give back?
Like national thing. I've been involved in a lot of national startup strategies to be able to see what is it that people can do just to improve where we are now going forth. This is like with the Bureau of Standards, your size standards, to be able to say we needed something that was par with the ISO, to be able to say what is a Motswana woman size wear, because we are not like the Asians, and definitely not like the Europeans as well. So
in terms of our physical,
yes, our physical bodies, and that's been quite a lot of them. I had done, like a national strategist for exports with AGOA. So I had done like the one that I say we embarked on just after the first lockdown, where we are strategizing to see what is it that could probably the quick wins that could make people do a lot of garments in Botswana than us taking more in our country. Yes.
So providing lessons, what lessons are you providing?
Like your basic sewing lessons.
How does it work? I mean, somebody can just call you and they say, look, I'll teach you.
Usually what I do, I want to where people, it's like at least a group of 5 to 10 people that I could teach at the same time. It's more about them gaining than I gaining. So, you know, like twice in a month where you have like your basics, at least to be able to sew a
So
curtain.
it's like a mentorship program.
It's more like a mentorship program. And I done mentorship again with Masai at some point, the hotel. They had a mentorship program that when I started with. So I had a young designer with me whom I took through how sort of like be with me throughout. They get to walk.
It's called
Yes.
job shadowing.
Yeah, like to shadow me. So they would shadow, they would see what is it that I look at, that's what clientele, the way I deal with my clients and all that. Yeah.
And is this still available if somebody wants to be mentored by you?
I'm actually trying to sort it in a program where people could be certified now. So we'll start the program fully now in 2022. So you could be certified, or you have done this, and then it has all these other things.
Diversification. You talked about those three. I think you already covered it. Are you thinking of diversifying beyond food, fashion, and what's the other one? Plants?
Yes, I have an open mind. If you bring anything to me, if you bring property to me, yes, I think I have.
I thought you were working on that already. Okay. What did you take for you to transform your house physically? What did it require for you to transform your house to what it is now as a multifaceted, physical location for business?
Firstly, its location. It's quite good. I'm right on the junction that joins Western Bypass into phase 2. So the location is good. It's easily accessible. So the yard, it's more open because it's on a curve. It's on a corner. So what I did, I just had to develop the garden to be able to have that appealing thing. You know, when you're coming to buy plants and you don't find plants doing well in a yard. I mean, it doesn't say much about would my plants really be like this. And so you sort of like making the garden look good. The house, I didn't do much except try face it out, with the wallpapers, like your decors, and I'm still working on it. It's a ongoing process. Just putting in wallpaper just picks the house because it's all about like the experience, as I was saying. When you come in, they should be certain. At times you just want to touch just by looking.
Yes.
Yeah, that is why, at times, mostly when you get into a shop, before you buy a garment, you want to touch it. You want to be able to feel
the texture.
Yeah, the texture,
Maybe
the quality.
now with COVID, you might have a problem.
We obviously does, where people can't fit, and especially us who are doing custom-made products. You can't just give somebody something that you don't know if it's going to fit them. So we have certain ways that we deal with sanitizing and washing the clothes, and there's a whole lot of process now that's involved.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about branding, the visibility of branding. You're paying attention to the branding aspect, and what are you doing there with regard to ThabieD and Kitchen Fair? First of all, did you explain to people the label Kitchen Fair, what it represents?
No.
Maybe you should.
I didn't. Kitchen Fair is, like it's a fair. When you get at a fair, like
trade fair,
like a trade fair, you get to see different kinds in the sense. So this is like a kitchen fair. When you go into a kitchen, you should be able to expect to get like any Tswana cuisine, or an Asian cuisine, or an Italian cuisine. So it was basically about experiencing the kitchen.
So you're running the entire fair yourself?
So I ran the entire fair myself, obviously with assistants. I have assistants.
Yeah.
But when I started it alone because I wanted
to... And how has it grown? Tell me about the latest.
It's because I I went much into branding. Oh, by the way, there's like a ThabieD water as well, and like a Kitchen Fair ginger as well. You know, where
Kitchen Fair, yeah, ginger.
and ThabieD, where you have people have.
I wish you had brought a sample.
Yeah. I should have. I will bring. Yes, you know, you want people to be able to experience. You know, it's all about branding. In as much as yes, you'd still have a Coca-Cola there, but then you needed, you know, like it's a Tswana cuisine. You're drinking kind the food that we eat, like your dikobe, dinawa tse di nang le korong and midi. So you want that experience. You want like a and then yes, I have pan as well, and I have mokoto as well. Mokoto is not there now because and we're prohibited to be able to do that now. So it means I've been having a lot of people. I'm actually now working on I actually have now frozen one where it's frozen and sold, and because when it's frozen and sold, then you can have it for longer periods of time. So it's like I was saying, it's all about innovative and seeing what's working, and Botswana are responding to these things.
Is this strictly Tswana cuisine or is it diversified?
No, it's diversifying. It's diversified. I do like
you have Italian like us here downstairs at
like your English. My Italian is not good as yours.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm actually developing some and learning. So I would actually want it to grow. It's actually at the infancy stage. I'm rebranding. I'm marketing. I'm trying to be visible in terms of kitchen, and I'm trying to give people the best because, like I was saying, it's your eyes that buys before you can take your money out. Yes.
Okay, and then we are of course going to talk about ThabieD in terms of branding.
Yes. Like I was saying, the water brand was more about to survive COVID when it came. Well, I've had it for like 5 years now, and I kept drilling until now, when I was like, you know, every 5 pula coming in every day, because water is, you have water every day. Water is life. So I was like, when we have water restricted only to be done in Botswana. So obviously you go out to other places. I've been to Letlhakane at some point and I couldn't get bottled water because the mine in Orapa had taken all the orders, you know, even in the shops, you know, where you could go into and you can't even find a bunch of vegetable because some people in the catering business or schools, when it comes, they pack in, and I'm thinking, but then with water, why can't I do water? So it was more when the brand goes through water as well, as ThabieD clothing, as ThabieD waters, you know, it still goes out there. So what I did even with ginger, with Kitchen Fair, I did the Kitchen Fair ginger. Like sip happens. As you eat, you sip as well. So
sip happens.
Yes, sip happens. So I'm talks with other retailers to be able to take the ginger. So, you know, when it goes out there, it means the brand is being visible. So it's I'm gaining at the end of the day.
You won an award called Katutura Fashion Awards. Tell us about the experience and what it was a recognition for.
I've actually been nominated. The nomination is still on, and
you've been nominated. You haven't won.
No,
okay.
I feel like a winner already, but I just been nominated because.
Tell us about the Katutura. What is that?
Katutura is a fashion movement that happens in Namibia. And what they did with the International Designer Award, they looked into other countries and looked into people that are making a wave, either a wave or they're making a contribution in bettering developments and infrastructures and programs that we get involved on around the country. So I'm with
specifically fashion related.
Specifically fashion related.
And yes. What did you do to deserve that award? What specific design or ensemble did you come up with, or how does it work?
It wasn't actually about designs. It was actually about a designer who's involved. I'm involved with government. I'm involved with bettering other designers. I'm involved in making sure our voice is heard as designers in Africa and in Botswana. So that's
how many nominees so far?
We are like 6: Zambia, Namibia, and Nigeria.
Okay.
So I'm the only one from Botswana.
Okay.
Yes.
And when are we going to know the winner?
It's on the 28th of August.
Where is
in Namibia?
So
in
you're heading there?
Windhoek.
Or it has to be virtual?
I should be heading there. I should be showcasing there.
Yeah, because I
Yes.
can't imagine a fashion show being totally virtual. Can you?
Yes, it has happened
Okay,
Yes.
so you do participate in such?
in virtual ones.
Yeah, because of COVID.
We haven't done any in Botswana because of COVID, but I know designers in Africa and Europe who has done virtual shows. Yes.
Okay. So speaking to those who are a bit nervous about the fashion industry, what words of encouragement can you give about the industry in terms of as a lifestyle, as a making one's future?
I think it's one vocation that one has to do when they are ready to be able to work hard, because it's not an easy vocation. It's you have to be able to apply yourself. Go in it when you are ready to apply yourself.
Okay, and grabbing that crystal ball, looking 5 to 10 years, even 15 years or longer down the line, where do you see your brand? Where you see all these businesses you are running?
I want to see them to be able to reach the outer markets, because obviously the first move for you to be in business is to make money. So I want to see at least 3 times what is happening at the moment. Even tenfolds. Because like I was saying, we have the capacity, we have the personnel, we have a lot of people that could be taught into this vocations. We have, there are countries that weren't doing well in manufacturing like 10 years ago, and now they are like your Vietnams and your Madagascars, and now
Cambodia
they are now like your Chile. They are doing very well in clothing, because everyone in this room is dressed. If you look outside, bankers are dressed, like the PPs. We have the mines, we have, like your kitchen and restaurants. We have all the clothing. We can't do without clothing. So it's an everyday. You have your schools, like your uniforms. Like most of our uniforms is not done. Look like a white shirt. Yeah, no one produces a white shirt in Botswana to be able to be used in the schools. This is where I want to see myself, to be able to produce a white shirt for Ackermans or for PEP. This is where our business should be heading, to be able to produce in masses for our country, for the local market, for the region.
Are the
and
retailers
elsewhere.
responsive? I mean, you mentioned PEP and others. We shouldn't actually be mentioning names, but are the retailers, are the big shops responsive in helping and supporting local designers and fashion manufacturers?
I would say they're not. I would say they're not. It's just that there's actually a balance in the fact, you don't know if government should be doing a certain penalty for them to be able to absorb. But at the end of the day, I always take it that we have to be able to produce to their level of standard. That's when we can convince them that we can be able to, they can be able to have our merchandises. And at the same time, again, I always say, what stops ThabieD from having a store like theirs? Nothing.
So that you can deal directly with the market, as you're currently doing.
Exactly. And
you virtually have your own store now, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
yes.
So you can still reach your market.
We can.
Okay, this is the part of the show where you can get to ask me a question, any question of your choosing.
What makes you
What makes me do what?
I mean, with all the components, what would you say made you succeed?
I think God's grace, but the attitude of persistence, the attitude of resilience, and believing that um, you are nothing without the people, and wanting at all times to give back and to learn, and being continually curious, and so any combination of those really.
Okay.
Curiosity, wanting to learn all the time. I think that is a key component, and also the humility to realize that you are nothing. That whatever success you think you have, there are people who have it a million times more, and so you're really just nothing. You shouldn't have an exaggerated sense about yourself. So take it one day at a time and keep pushing.
Wow.
Have I answered your question?
Fully answered.
Yeah.
I thank God I have little bits and pieces of what you have. So now I'm confident I'll succeed.
You've succeeded already. You've been on the nuggets. Can
Thank you.
look at that camera? Share a few words of wisdom, some parting words of wisdom, something to leave them with, something inspirational, hopefully.
Okay.
Especially on the subject diversifying one's expertise in these times of COVID.
To the viewers at home and all over, as Thabiso, as ThabieD, what I could say to you is work hard, be determined, do everything that you do up to your best ability. Your hands are your diamonds. You can never do anything that's out of your hands. If you can be able to do with your hands, make sure you hold it with the utmost care, because like I said, your hands are diamonds. So whatever you hold, do it with all your strength.
Okay, just tell the viewers again how they can reach you. They want to engage, perhaps they want to give you some business.
Okay. My operations are in phase 2 at plot 19647. My number is 777 97 500 777 97 500. You can contact me on those numbers.
Any social media presence?
And there's Kitchen Fair BW on Twitter and on Instagram. There's ThabieD on Facebook as well. There's ThabieD on Facebook. You can still talk to Thabiso Dibeela herself on Facebook. ThabieD08 on Insta as well and on Twitter. Yes.
All right. Let me take this time to thank you. You shared generously. Dibeela, Dibeela. You keep correcting me. I keep correcting myself. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.